It's been nearly 3 years since Fire Emblem Three Houses landed on the Switch, and if you've seen my latest Fire Emblem video, you'll know that I'm itching to play a new game from one of my favorite series. It'll be 3 years this summer, Intelligent Systems. That's long enough! Where's my new Fire Emblem game? Come on! Please? In that video, I speculated that Intelligent Systems might go with the sequel for Three Houses, in some way, theorizing about different scenarios. Well, as it turns out, we are, in fact, getting a sequel to Three Houses, albeit not in the way most were thinking. In the latest Direct, Nintendo revealed Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes, a Musou-type sequel set in the Three Houses universe. However, instead of picking your favorite husbando and waifu team, the Three Houses of Garamok are seemingly working together to bring down a new but also familiar enemy. In other words, a golden root. So in order to uncover the secrets hidden in plain sight, let us take another trailer analysis deep dive, this time into Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes. A couple things to note: due to the nature of Three Hopes, I will be covering some major spoilers from the original game, Three Houses. If you have not played it and want to remain spoiler-free, leave now. Trust me, it's for your own good. That being said, understanding that this is a sequel spin-off is important. If Age of Calamity is anything to go off of, the events in Three Houses will not only mess with Three Houses lore, it's going to take the lore in an entirely different direction. Now get your diving gear ready. We're going deep.
Will you sit around and wait for a miracle? Or will you help me see?
Three Hopes' premise seems to be a what-if type scenario. Basically, what if the three lords, Edelgard, Dimitri, and Claude, were able to set aside their differences and fight together for the future of Fodlan? Hardly seems feasible when you consider the events of Three Houses Part 1, but this is an alternate universe. Anything goes. Because of that, I can't help but think Three Hopes changes the series of events in some drastic way, at least right before the time skip. In the trailer, we see school-phase Byleth and the three lords, monologuing about their goals and motivations, the same goals they had during the same time frame in Three Houses. But a few seconds later, we see older versions of the lords, at first fighting against each other, but eventually coming together under one banner, as hinted by both Dimitri and Claude's lines. We also see Super Saiyan Byleth here, implying that this indeed does take place in Part 2. To me, this all implies that the three lords went their separate ways, back to their countries after graduating perhaps, preparing to accomplish their respective goals. We know some time has passed since the academy phase, since they look older and Dimitri's hair is longer, as indicated by his ponytail. A ponytail? Doesn't really look good to me. But how much time has passed? Is it the same 5 years after Byleth's disappearance that we saw in the first game? If so, where has Byleth been all this time? Teaching at Garamok? Roaming Fodlan? Wouldn't it cover the same events as in the original game, thus leading to Byleth's disappearance? Sure, that's possible, but there are a few reasons why I think Three Hopes is adjusting that part of the story. First off, Geralt is alive, at least for a bit. In the trailer, he's seen crouching down on the stone ground with some light rain falling. In his actual death scene, the rain doesn't start falling until after he was stabbed. Plus, the ground in his death scene is covered in grass. Unless the developers didn't bother to recreate the ruins where he was stabbed, this Geralt is in another place entirely, although it wouldn't surprise me if he was killed off again. Fathers are just not allowed to live in Fire Emblem. Yeah. Honestly, that might end up being the reason Byleth accesses Sothis' goddess power, instead of getting trapped in some purgatory dimension. The second evidence suggesting some plot changes is Dimitri, specifically his personality. Instead of losing himself to revenge, sorrow, and guilt as he does in Three Houses, Dimitri acts like the terrible events of Part 1 never happened. It's as if he kept his same personality from the school phase, even with how many years had passed. Or maybe he finally saw a therapist. My mother died when I was young. My father remarried, and I loved my stepmother and new sister dearly, but they too were taken away from me. I was the only one left after that horrible day. I still hear them. Their screams, and I see their faces whenever I stare into the fire. So I vowed I would put an end to the persons behind that tragedy, for the sake of those that haunted me. But here's the irony. It turns out that my stepmother and sister might have been behind the massacre this whole time. How's that for a dark comedy? I see. And how does that make you feel? Confused? Angry? Betrayed? I will kill every last one of— Dimitri, Where's your teddy?
Sir Fluffy Buddy!
Grab your teddy.
Come here, Sir Fluffy Buddy.
Remember, it's normal to feel emotion, but it's how we act on those emotions that defines us. Talking to friends or finding someone that helps ease our minds are wonderful ways to vent our emotions. Feeling better?
Yes. Thank you, Sir Fluffy Buddy.
You're welcome, Dimitri. I love you.
I love you too, Mr. Fluffy Buddy.
And just like that, I'm cured. Onwards to reuniting Fodlan. Another healing patient. How it does my heart good to see them change. All right, Manuela, you can send in the next patient. Oh, dear Soth the Snow. Did you just use my mother's name in vain? Dimitri isn't the only one who seems healthier, mentally speaking. Edelgard actually looks a little happier during this march, as if less of the pressures of the world lie on her shoulder, although I suppose that's just me reading too deeply into her face. She also isn't wielding her axe Amir, instead holding a new fancy axe with the crest of Seros engraved upon it. Now, why Edelgard had Amir, a creststone weapon that is not considered a hero's relic, is beyond me. It doesn't even have Edelgard's crest. It's Marianne's crest. Anyway, Edelgard still has the crest of flames as seen in the trailer, so unless that's her only crest, she likely still has the crest of Seros as well, just not the crest to wield Amir effectively. Also, her hair is still white, so yeah. If you know, you know. It's definitely not the recommended way to dye your hair. I'm guessing the lack of Amir is a sign that Edelgard is in a better place mentally. Granted, still traumatized by her past, but now she seeks to change Fodlan without using nefarious means to unite the country. I mean, good for her, right? Both Dimitri and Edelgard are doing so well. And then Claude is just there. I trust people now. Good for you, Claude. You were never really a lost cause to begin with, so there's not a whole lot we can fix, but great job. If Edelgard has truly changed her ways, what if she never became the Flame Emperor? But let's take that a step further. What if those who slither in the dark never showed up during the school phase? That would explain why Geralt is seemingly still alive, as well as Dimitri and Edelgard's better mental health. Of course, having no influence of Agarthans would mean many of the historical events of Fodlan would not have happened, but maybe the Agarthans' role will change in this Warriors spin-off. Related to those who slither in the dark, we see a red-headed woman running forward with fire magic in a green room. Not sure if this green room is the Holy Tomb at Garreg Mach or some other room we haven't seen before, but I'm confident that this woman is Monica, the girl who was kidnapped by those who slither in the dark. It also looks like she has aged a bit and is not wearing her school uniform, implying this takes place after the time skip. The question is this the real Monica or Kronya impersonating her? If she is the real Monica, then the events caused by the Agarthans might not have happened. Of course, I could be completely wrong about all of this, but some of these changes don't add up if the events in the Academy phase remain unchanged. It's also interesting to note that we may not get much time in the Academy phase. Sure, we see the three lords in their school uniforms, juggling hundreds of barbarians, but later on, we see the war map for the Battle of Garreg Mach. The enemies for this side mission are only level 8, and we also see older Edelgard's portrait as she explains the mission. That seems to imply that, aside from the beginning 3 or so levels, most of Three Hopes will take place after the time skip, which I'm okay with since Edelgard looks as gorgeous as ever. Yas, Slay Queen, yas! But I think it could mean most, if not all, of the Academy phase events from Three Houses are not present. Again, this is just my speculation, but don't expect to see much of the Academy phase. And that all leads to why the Three Kingdoms are joining sides. I would be shocked if they don't reference the Battle of Eagle and Lion at Gronder Field at some point, probably here where the lords meet for the first time in a while, but as the dialogue suggests, that contention is short-lived. So what causes them to band together as one? Overthrowing the Church of Seros? I mean, I'm always up for that, but I think Three Hopes will start off that way and then go a different direction once the true villain is revealed.
You seek revenge to slake your rage and heal your wounded heart.
Next, I want to break away from the norm and talk about the key art. Besides being an absolute amazing art piece, eat your heart out, Three Houses box art, there are a few story elements we can grab from this. Front and center, we see Academy phase female Byleth taking on a purple hair guy. No, not Yuri. Go wait for the DLC. This purple-haired aggressor seems to be a Warriors original character, and we know how well written Fire Emblem Warriors characters are. Friendship. Purple-haired guy wields a katana-like sword with an unfamiliar symbol in one hand, and what might be a hero's relic in the other hand. or at least a weapon with a similar design, with its bone-like material. If it is a relic, where is the crest? Or even a slot for the crest? On the hilt? I'm inclined to think the sword is different from the hero relics you find in Fodlan. Actually, I'm not certain this purple-haired guy is from Fodlan at all. Rather, a foreign land. Maybe one of the surrounding countries. Granted, I can't tell you which country, although I can probably guarantee it's not Elmira, but that would explain his unfamiliar armor and strange symbol on the sword. That said, in the beginning of the trailer, we see Academy Edelgard talking to a purple-haired boy in a school uniform. Again, no, that's not Yudi. So unless this is some random NPC, perhaps purple-haired guy was a student at Garrick Mach, and his actions or betrayal are the cascading events that lead to the war phase, in this universe at least. Maybe he's the one to kill Geralt, this time at the Academy, thus triggering Byleth's Super Saiyan Goddess transformation and will give reason for Byleth wanting revenge. Or maybe his people take over Garrick Mach, and that leads to the three lords aligning together as one. However, this all begs the question, which house would this guy be in, and where is he from? Perhaps Adrestia, since he's talking to Edelgard, but maybe he's from a foreign land, like Petra or Claude. Who knows? There is another potential clue to him being an illegal alien, the mysterious girl behind him. I think it's safe to say she will play a similar role as Sothis does to Byleth, providing a power boost and maybe even time manipulation to purple-haired guy. Evidence of this can be seen in the trailer when Byleth and him are dueling. After Byleth whiffs on a strike, purple-haired guy unleashes his own version of Super Saiyan God mode, turning his hair partially white and shattering Byleth's sword. Clearly this guy gets some sort of power boost from his inner goddess, because we can also see the same white markings on his face that adorn the goddess's face. Interestingly though, it appears that the red-eyed white goddess is not a dragon, or at least not a Nambitian, because she's lacking the trademark pointy ears, also no green hair. That's kind of a must for a Fire Emblem Malekith. So what is she? If the foreign country theory is correct, perhaps she is a goddess from another land that was at war with Fodlan when Sothis first arrived in the country. Or maybe they both fought for the land of Fodlan. I don't know, the way Sothis and the red-eyed white-haired lady are staring at each other makes me think they have history together. Behind that spicy action, we see a symbol of a sun or star, which could easily be the symbol for this mysterious foreign country or the symbol for the red-eyed white-haired lady goddess. Why exactly? Well, we know that Sothis is rumored to come from the blue sea star. What if Red Eye's home is this star, or this symbol? Maybe they were galactic neighbors. Okay, that does sound far-fetched. But since Red Eyes has similar powers to Sothis, it kind of makes sense she would have a similar origin. That theory could also give them a reason to dislike each other if they both arrived to Fodlan's planet around the same time. Sothis's people thrived, while Red Eye's white-haired lady's people suffered. Just an idea. My last theory about the purple-haired guy is more about who could secretly be pulling his strings. Honestly, I doubt this guy will be the final evil, and I'm calling it now. He'll have a moment of redemption sometime during the story. So that implies someone is using him and his red-eyed white goddess. Take a guess. Who in Fodlan works from the shadows?
Hubert.
Good guess, but no. The Agarthans, aka those who slither in the dark. And I do have something to back that up. In the Golden Deer route, we learned that the hero relics and crest stones were forged by the Agarthan people from the bodies and blood of Sothis's children. If we assume all creststone weapons were indeed made by them, then perhaps purple-haired guy's hero relic sword was crafted and potentially given to him by the Agarthans. I have no idea what they want with an Ashen Demon clone, but I'm sure it's something to do with destroying the goddess and her children. Typical bad guy stuff. Whether or not purple-haired guy is an alien invader or just a puppet for a bigger evil, I'm excited to see where the story goes with his origin and goddess-like powers. Returning to Byleth, we see her sword is not the creator's sword. Actually, I don't know if I've ever seen this sword design in the game before. We can see it during the sword duel in the trailer, but it meets an unfortunate fate. So is there a reason for the uniquely designed sword, or does it shatter into pieces, never to be picked up again? Seems kinda odd to showcase it on the box art, especially if it's replacing the sword whip. But the creator sword has to come back, right? Unless the game is implying certain events within Three Houses Academy phase never happened. If my theory about those who slither in the dark and the Flame Emperor never appearing in the first part is true, that would mean Byleth never entered the Holy Mausoleum to discover the whip sword, at least during the Academy phase. That would explain why she doesn't have the sword here. However, it would be strange if she never uses her weapon of choice, so I think she will come across the blade eventually. Based on how quickly Three Hopes seems to move into the war phase, I'm sure the absence of the sword is for balancing reasons. Don't want to be too OP from the start. I mean, that's kind of the point of warrior games, but not unreasonably OP. Speaking of things missing, where is male Byleth? I guess I understand not wanting to clutter the key art with characters, but he's not even in the trailer. To be fair, we didn't see female Byleth until way after Three Houses was announced, but at least she was on the box art. Granted, there's still the chance you can choose between male and female Byleth when you start the game, but it does seem odd to exclude him entirely. Could they be saving him for something? Maybe another alternate dimension storyline, where male Byleth comes from the Three Houses universe? Or male Byleth is the secret villain all along? Or maybe they're saving him for DLC. That sounds more likely. Cheer up, teacher. At least you're in Smash. Well, I mean, so is female Byleth, but you have an amiibo! I mean, so does female Byleth. She has kind of a bigger, cooler amiibo figurine thing. And she has more alts in Fire Emblem Heroes, so there's that. And I'm pretty sure her design and personality is liked more. Granted, it's a little more risque, but I think there's something charming about that. She also has more votes in Fire Emblem Heroes, way more than you do. You know, at this point, I think female Byleth might as well be the main Byleth, if you know what I mean. What are we talking about? Finally, we get to the logo, which looks pretty standard aside from the reddish-orange spot near the middle. You can vaguely tell it has a circular shape in the English logo, but with the Japanese version, it becomes much clearer that the red spot is round, almost like a sun. Could the similar color effect be referencing the sun or star symbol we mentioned before? It's the only reason I can see for the color blob, but maybe it's nothing more than a pleasing color. Some minor details I wanted to highlight quickly come from the battle map we see here. We've already established this stage of the story occurs relatively early in the game, at least 2 or 3 missions later. The troops start their march in Alliance territory, near the Great Bridge of Mirrodin, heading toward Garreg Mach, marked by that fancy chess piece. Now, I hypothesized earlier that the Field of Grandeur might be the start of their alliance, so it's possible that they start in Grandeur Field, then cross the Great Bridge in order to get to Garreg Mach, or the alliance begins in Mirrodin Airmid area instead of Grandeur. Either way, the Golden Root team starts their anti-crusade towards Garreg Mach, taking down bandits and Church of Cerro armies along the way. Chess pieces mark battle locations, with red marking unchallenged areas and blue marking claimed territory. I really love how they use the Fodlan map as if you're in a strategy meeting with commanders. Great detailed design as always from the Warriors team. At the bottom of the screen, we see a command to return to camp, implying there might be a hub world for the player to roam around. I'm excited to see what kind of camp they create, although after taking over the monastery, that might become the base camp. Still, having a new camp to roam would be a charming addition.
Cycle of this world. I will not allow it to perish with you.
Lastly, let's discuss who could possibly be joining the roster. For reference, Nintendo's most recent Warriors crossover, Age of Calamity, had 18 characters, not including DLC, and the first Fire Emblem Warriors had 25 characters, not including DLC. Based on that, we may have to brace ourselves and expect some of our favorite units will not make it into the game. There are 34 playable characters, not including DLC, in 3 houses, although feel free to correct me on that. With just the students and Byleth, the total is 25, which would fit the roster size from the first game, but leave out some fan-favorite teachers. Please don't leave out Shamir. Optimistically, we might get all the student characters as playable, but I'm not willing to bet on that. As for the characters we've seen so far, we have female Byleth, Edelgard, Dimitri, Claude, Hubert, Hilda, and who I believe is Dedu. Not only does it match the partnership with the Lord, Edelgard with Hubert and Claude with Hilda, but whoever's hand this is kinda dwarfs Dimitri's hand. Therefore, I think it's gotta be Dedu. Moving on, we have Super Saiyan Purple Hair Guy and his goddess, who I think we hear after the logo reveal in this trailer. I mean, I can't figure out who else the voice clip could be. If you people know exactly who voices that line, please let me know, but it sounds someone I haven't heard before, so I'm thinking it's the new goddess. Then there's Sothis, Gerald, Just Monica, Judith, Randolph, and of course, the Immaculate One, aka Lady Rhea. Are we going to be able to play as the Immaculate One? That'd be pretty cool, not gonna lie. I'm sure it'll be a boss at some point, but if we get to play as Rhea and we can transform between her and the Immaculate One, that'd be pretty sick, but also, gotta keep expectations low. Odds are most of these minor characters won't be playable, but you never know. It's interesting that Edelgard and Dimitri are fighting Judith and Randolph respectively. Does this mean the three lords fight as rivals at one point, even after joining sides? Or do the three lords unite to fight against everyone, including their homeland? Perhaps the three kingdoms unite to fight with the Church of Seiros, which we know is an enemy in some way. Not sure why the subordinates would be fighting their rulers otherwise, unless there were some mind control shenanigans at play. That does make me wonder if some of our students will fight against the Golden Conquest and then join after defeated, similar to how it kind of worked in Three Houses' War Phase. Knowing Koei Tecmo, they'll probably lock some of them behind paid DLC, despite already being in the game. Anyway, those are the only characters I can see so far. So who makes the cut? Do all the students join the battle? Are there no cuts to make? If by some miracle Koei Tecmo decides to add them all, I would be shocked if they weren't more or less clones of each other in some way, just like Fire Emblem Warriors. But please, prove me wrong. It's been nostalgic diving back into the lore of Three Houses again. There's a reason why so many Fire Emblem fans love Fodlan and its deep political history. It just leaves so much to the imagination, like a grand epic. While I would have preferred a normal Fire Emblem game set in the same universe, I'll take this Golden Route version of the story, even if it does drastically differ from canonical events. Like I learned with Age of Calamity, I don't expect Three Hopes to be anything more than glorified Three Houses fan service with a non-canonical plot and ending. Although you could argue that this Golden Route is just as canonical as the other routes in Three Houses, alternate realities and whatnot. Either way, it'll be fun to experience the Golden Route that was previously thought to be impossible. As for the next Fire Emblem game, I have no doubt Intelligent Systems is working on the next one, like I said in my previous video. Koei Tecmo may help with development, but Intelligent Systems is the main team behind the series. Whether it be a new game, a remake, or a prequel to Three Houses, like that's gonna happen now, the next Fire Emblem is on the way. I still think we could see it revealed this summer, but I understand if they want to wait until after Three Hopes is out. But no matter the future of Fire Emblem, I'm hyped to return to Fodlan and immerse myself in that wonderful world. Warriors gameplay can be visually appealing, challenging, and exciting at times, and I can't wait to see what sort of missions await us in Three Hopes. I also can't wait to see all the new waifu designs. Please don't let anybody have a bad haircut. Just look at Edelgard's new look. They really outdid themselves with that design. So precious. Thank you so much for watching. Are you excited for Three Hopes? Did you find anything that I missed? Please let me know in the comments below. Next video is without a doubt going to be Xenoblade 3 related, so please look forward to that. Hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye, you good people.
Goodbye, you good people.
Sir Fluffy Buddy!